What's up, YouTube? Okay, right from the bat, we're spoiling the new Monsters game. We're spoiling here with Kage. Okay,
It's just to get Chase demonetized or the usual.
yeah. All right, I don't know how Windows work in this, but let's just spread this out in the Discord. All right, let everybody know that we're live because of course I didn't tell anyone ahead of time. Don't worry,
Yeah,
I'm kind of a big deal. They're gonna come.
This.
They're gonna come running. All right, what are we doing? We are going to rate the general pool. Tell you guys whether it's worth it. This is from largely a new player experience, and I brought Kage along because he's been playing for 3 years, but still has the skill of a novice player.
Yeah, definitely at this point. That's how you keep playing, Chase.
Kage,
You don't swing for the fences, because then you quit and come back.
I'll come on your back.
God.
I
bet you would for a good account.
Sorry, man. You must have seen that Parks and Rec outtake with Chris Pratt, the comeback one.
God.
Okay, I'm not going to explain like an outtake, but
no, you don't have to. I've seen the show.
Okay, it was an outtake. It wasn't part of it. Okay, so I wasn't a good enough host to let you introduce yourself, but you have your own YouTube channel, Kage DQT. Anything important you want to say? He's not going to say much because he's playing the new Monsters game, so he's half present.
Realistically, if you want to cheat the system with guilds, I put out a new video a couple of days ago. People are pissed off. People have morality, but you're mostly all a bunch of auto-clicking fucking cheaters, in my opinion. So go watch it and beat up a bunch of low-level guilds, because why fight 20v20 to get 400 fucking gems every month?
The fact
it's not
that
worth
you
it.
Never used a tapper before the auto rematch feature just makes me wonder what's wrong with you, but
plenty.
Honestly, there's a lot more worrying things, but then again, I mean, making fun of the nerdiest kid in DQT is I mean, come on, we're all, it's like the biggest thing.
I don't even know who that is anymore, because all those guys quit. Like Eazy-E, he used to be super crazy and nerdy. He's gone. Nibs, he turned into furniture. It's like everybody's gone.
Yeah, Nibs only came back once. I came back twice, so.
Is it twice or like 3 times? I lost count. It's like domestic violence at this point.
I'm still always tempted to change the name of one of the guilds to Game Bangers, though.
Oh God, Game Bangers! Like who? I mean, besides Game Vision, Aces, and Nibs, who thought that was a good idea?
Let me see. Yeah, so we're just live right now, but we might as well get to the thing. I'll make this like a recording, so I guess I'm just gonna do another introduction here, so
sure,
bear with me. What's up, YouTube? Thanks for tuning back into Chase Games, and tonight our special guest, Kage DQT.
What's up, guys?
There we go. Finally. He will be joining us throughout the video when he's not playing the new Monsters game. What are we doing tonight? You probably know from the title screen, but as most of my followers are illiterate, I'll explain. We're going to rate the general pool units. Again, I made this joke on the live stream already, but even though Kage's been playing for 3 years, he still has the mindset and skills of a novice, so I want his advice on which general pool units are useful for new players. But yeah, here's the thing.
Good times.
To fully rank up a unit, which of course you can't argue that you can use a unit at rank 4 anymore. Outside low level TNT, level 90 units can actually still be used in the very easy TNT stages. Outside that, though, you're going to need to put 2 orbs in these units, and orbs are very finite. So if you're a new player and you pull this, oh my god, this super cool dragon, this red dragon, he looks super cool, he's got to be strong, let's orb him up. Bro, you just wasted 2 orbs. So don't do that. We're going to tell you how not to waste your orbs here. Heck, some of these units aren't even worth Emerald Sapphires anymore.
I mean, because the problem is on top of needing them to be S8 and soon to be S9, a lot of these you also need to have the blossoming materials to even make them work. Because if you have,
Yeah.
well, yeah, Dread Dragon, for example, Dread Dragon without the blossoming is awful. Like you can't do anything with him.
Oh, yeah. And that was actually the story for him at launch too. But
But yeah, I mean, he was there just to get CP for, he was a CP buffer for leaderboards. That was it.
yeah,
There was no reason to pull on him.
that's when you knew you had a problem in the game. It's like, wow, I actually did the paid once only on Dread Dragon. Like, why did I do that? And then you probably maxed him.
Yeah, I got him up to like 4 Awaken.
Because I
Something
remember you
stupid.
bitching and whining, like, are we ever going to get Dread Dragon? I need another unit. We're being cheated. Which is exactly how you're acting about Lawson now. So,
Which Lawson's different though. I mean,
was it
Lawson.
a whole event?
Was a whole event. They basically made it JP exclusive with Dread Dragon. The thing they did with him was they just didn't release him in the same
Didn't they
time
release
span.
him
He
with
was
Draguar, or was it like a week before?
it was somewhat. I don't even remember. I just know that he was like
I think it was like
one of the early banners, and we didn't get him for like months.
it was
He
around
just dropped
DQ.
one day.
It was around rank 6 time. Well, we got rank 6 wicked early. He might have came with rank 6. I think it was like 5 minutes before arena came into play.
Something. It was just really weird, and by the time he came out, he was already useless because
Oh yeah.
I mean, you already had other stuff coming out.
Because he actually predated Killing Machine, right? Killing Machine was our launch banner, but in JP it was Dread, right? Or did he come
I
after?
think it
Killing?
was Dread, or I think it was somewhere around there. I just don't remember the timeline. I'd have to go back and look.
Because the obvious thing was just like Dread Dragon is like, why isn't he a general pool unit? He has general pool stamped on his forehead. Why is he a banner of his own? Like, I mean, he would be like, he's the bottom tier of the general pool, but the only thing is we literally didn't have a Sizz S rank for. How long did it take? Rickard? Rickard came.
Yeah, Rickard, and I mean, but then
Rickard was
he didn't really get.
JP, I think.
He didn't get good until his blossom, though. I mean, I don't remember anybody outside of maybe Shark Eye, because Shark Eye like just needed the hero CP. I don't remember anybody really ever talking him up or using him. I'd have to actually go back and do a search on the Discords, but
Oh man,
nobody
you and
really
I
used
are
him
gonna
that I
reminisce
remember.
too much instead of actually talking about the topic. So,
Yeah, that could happen.
yeah. So, sorry, there's a little bit cut off here, but bear with. Maybe I should let me move this over a little. We really need to be able to see like the next unit coming up. So let me move it like this. All right. So we're gonna look at Royal Reptile right now, and we're gonna talk about them in their current state. And we'll mention if they haven't been blossomed. But Royal Reptile, he's been blossoming. He got blossomed a year ago? I think it was right before I left. His blossom didn't look awful, but it wasn't good enough. He came out when there were too many other things to blossom when he got blossomed. He didn't really fix any range issues, so he hits hard. He did at the time at least, but
I mean, he's got a good zap ability. He gets a small heal when he gets below a certain percent. I mean, he has a couple of good factors to him for the blossom, and he's also it's one of those things where he may be the only unit you have that is zap based damage, like kind of like Killing Machine is he could be your primary crack damage. He would be your primary zap damage here. So, I mean, when you take into account things with these accounts and how you're doing things and looking at the boxes, something that you got to keep in mind for everybody who's going to be different is if you don't have any zap damage, this guy's going to be a lot higher up for you to actually have on the list, especially if you're getting a couple of copies, months in because he's in the general pool. Or you could have units where they have the zap coverage. Why do you need him? I mean, if you have solo, you don't need, Yeah.
And even, sometimes it matters just as much. Status condition resistance. It's like, oh, okay, I've got the unit that resists the right elements, but you got 3 units on the stage that sleep, and he's weak to sleep. So I kind of I remember Royal Reptile in a couple of PVE scenarios, just his resistances being very worthwhile. Um, but I think the reality is that he's not can like a new player cannot put orbs into this guy. But I think he's still worth saying like of the 5 tiers, we'll put him in 4. Like C tier, not D but C.
Because I mean, looking at all the units that I have that do like real zap damage, I mean, the main ones that stand out are Die 2, which new players aren't going to have. That event's gone.
Can't, yeah.
You've got Solo and Erdrick, which you may or may not have. You've got Grainarl, and you've got
Two, right?
Baron and Goresby.
Well,
Goresby's the only other one you may have out of actual zap damage.
well, it's not that rare anymore, but like I said, the right resistance, because you got and 2 with zap, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Parry, so like every other unit's coming with zap now, I think, but not every other, but like I said, yeah, he might have the right resistances. He's fairly beefy, at least he was at the time. But then again,
so I mean, that's always something to consider. If you actually have a max awakened and you don't have a lot of zap coverage, just he wouldn't be something that would be a bad investment on. And the easiest way to tell is always just go into your list of party members, sort it by rank, and sort by zap damage, and see you have who does what. And you could use that for any element to give you an idea. Because that also gets people off your back, by the way. Because no matter what we say on this tier list, somebody's going to be like, "You're wrong," or "This is wrong." Well, go make your own list. Is what I say to you. Blow it out your ass.
No, don't make your own. I don't need any other YouTubers. Chase Games is the only DQT streamer.
Are you really worried about competition? This isn't the dating field, Chase. You'll be okay.
No, I know, but I'm always, yeah. Anyway, competition. Anyway, I thought I was gonna have to argue with you about like, come on, man, he's got a little bit of use. You like him more than I do, but I'm still gonna say C tier because I just can't see anybody actually having.
It's case specific. It's one of those things where you'll
have use for him. You will. But like, let's say you got like 20 orbs on your new account after you farm some stuff. Like, bro, you got 10. You're gonna have 10 units better than Royal Reptile after like 2 or 3 months of playing, especially if you got
hopefully
value banners. All right, so King She Slime, surprisingly good when he blossomed. He was one of the OGs, right? The OG Blossom units.
He's one of the OG Blossoms. I mean, his ability could help you with his pushback.
Yeah.
I mean, most people.
What 2-3
I
weeks
think
ago?
I recommended to keep the pushback off. Like, even I still have it to where I didn't grab the pushback.
I never did on my other account.
It's just not a. It could really mess you up.
You can go back on that now, right? For PvE at least.
For PvE you can. For PvP, no. I mean, so if you actually have it there, and again, that's the only time that pushback would have actually been beneficial to you is like during that one RTA week where they had the death tiles on the far edge of the corners.
Oh my god, reminiscing, we got Platt in the chat. What's up?
Oh, we got Platt in the channel.
The OG, the one that inspired us all to make YouTube channels.
Well, speaking of which, Platt had a message for you, I think. Let me see if I can find it here.
Who can't?
All right, let's see.
So anyway,
I think I have this here for you.
So King She Slime, actually, like I said, he's going to be down on the priority list, but not dead. He's still not dead. Pretty agile too.
Fuck you idiot!
Oh, well, that was a nice Platt.
Thank you. So I think B tier, like middle tier for King She Slime. This is the kind of unit that just isn't. He's never gonna really die. Like, maybe he's not PvP viable, but I know I've got one guildmate that actually still loves him in PvP because he's fast. So
I mean, he's got his move. I mean, if it's one of those things where if you have the pushback, you have a certain situation, cool, he's great. But otherwise, he's been overshadowed. He's been overshadowed hard because Queen Slime. I would say Queen Slime is infinitely better than him. If Queen Slime
Oh yeah.
didn't exist in this universe, I would probably put him a bit higher up. But I would put her at S. I mean, she'd be one of those units where she's got an AoE charm,
Mm.
PvP wise. If you status ailments a couple of people with her, she's got high HP, high agility. I mean, she's a really good unit. She can just wreck your day, and a lot of the newer units still don't have any sort of resistance against charm to some extent. I mean, Zenlon's a good one there. Like Queen Slime, even though she was crack damage, she goes up, she charms Zenlon. Zenlon starts wiping out the enemy team for you.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think GVG is one of the places where she shines the most because of the way her passive works. Is when you hit her, she has a 10 or 20% chance to charm you, even if she dies. That activates, right? That's how it. Yeah, even if she dies, it does, right?
I believe even if she dies, I'm not 100%. I'd have to test that out.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure though.
But here's the thing about GVG, even like top level GVG. Okay, the other player, like your units are going to be controlled by AI. You're going to be going against a lot. They're going to be facing your defense team. They always have the advantage. The real player should always win GVG. The only chance you have is if they're bad or if they get screwed by RNG.
Right, they can take a crit, or they take a status ailment, or a status ailment doesn't land.
Having one or two of your units being charmed, that's enough to lose a match. So things that unavoidable RNG situations on your
Sepit says if she dies, no chance, so it can't be a killing blow. Which makes sense.
Okay. She's relatively beefy though, and agile, so I'm pretty sure she's hard to take down in one hit, but then again, things are hitting so much harder now. Almost everything has some sort of damage mitigation.
I mean, in PvP, you can get her near like 2k HP if you wanted to, and have her at some decent agility.
Okay, HP values have changed, but yeah, it's still pretty hard to, or HP values haven't changed that much, but damage has gone up a bit, but it's still pretty hard to deal 2,000 damage in arena or PvP. So
at least turn one.
Good. All right, so let's pretend this is Squidzilla. This guy was so underrated. Like when his Blossom was announced, we were looking at these months ahead of time in Global. Nobody used him at launch because he had no range, no move. People didn't really know what he did. So his Blossom kit looked like, But people forgot that he got the chance to double buff his attack. This guy with an attack buff and his new mobility, this guy wrecked when he.
I used him in PvE. I used him for a bunch of EX missions and other things. He had some good value, and he does bring good bang damage to the table.
Yeah. No, he's fantastic. He's got great range. I think he has extra movement the first turn, right? Or is it just...
It's as long as he doesn't take damage,
yes,
I believe. Let me double check. I thought it's as long as he doesn't take damage, he's got.
Yeah, so if he's at full HP. Because I'm pretty sure you can heal him back to that, too.
Yeah, greatly raises move if user's HP is 100%. Yeah.
But here's the thing. That was 2 years ago, plus. I mean, you're definitely not using him in anything PvP related. Not that he can't do a little bit of damage there, but I mean, kind of crazy to bring this.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have anything else special. I mean, he doesn't have an agility up buff. He doesn't have anything extra to bring to the table.
Yeah, and units that we used to consider beefy, everything now has avoidance, mitigation, even a flat out block or something. Dude, Parry's really annoying when it's like, oh great, I have to. The first hit that I do to him is worthless. Shit. So units that we used to consider beefy are now paper, basically.
Yeah, he's completely.
Do we put him all the way down?
Completely worthless. You know what?
Like
I would, because you've got Dimension Dragon in the list who, if you have to choose between those two for bang damage, I'd choose Dimension Dragon.
Yeah, he's just too dated. I mean, he held up for a long time, but he's literally like an old tier of unit, Um, now, I'm going to have to rely on you for this more. I know that his Blossom is stupid. It seems to
I've
all.
only seen it used in play once in that tournament Meta did the other day, and the guy using him got his teeth punched in trying to use Emperor mode. It was kind of sad. So it didn't really. His Blossom was underwhelming. Like, at least his actually came out super early. There was some sort of bug or mismanagement. No, surprise, surprise. And we got his blossoming toolkit and I think Great Troll and a couple others early, but it just didn't look that appealing. I mean, even with the defense cap being raised beyond 999, there's typeless abilities that could just cut this guy down like paper. I mean, so
Yeah, and then
he doesn't really have much going for him.
he gets some of the things without being in Emperor mode, right? Or do all of the things come with Emperor mode? I can't recall. But
let me look because I have my game
a turn to go to Emperor mode. So PvP, not even a little bit useful in PvP. And again, you're never gonna. I don't think he's ever gonna be good enough for PvE unless I miss something. Like, I mean, he's good enough for PvE, but there's so many better things. There's free to play healers that are probably just as good. So I mean, we can put them all the way down in D, right?
We might as well. I mean, I haven't had a legitimate use for that unit since Seraphy came around. Seraphy just outshadowed him in every which way possible. And
yeah,
I mean, hell, at this point, maybe she'll have a Blossom pretty soon.
If you needed like an actual bigger heal, he healed better than Seraphy, like numbers wise, like that turn. But generally, you were still overhealing even with Seraphy, so he was never needed.
No, he was just. There was no real reason to use him. I mean, again, the only thing that's kind of cool is the defense cap being pushed up. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you could get him to take normal physical attacks to like next to nothing, but there's element damage, there's spells, there's like 9 different things that could kill this guy. Sorry, kids. He's just. Yeah. And as somebody mentioned in the chat here, he's not even meme worthy because blossoming materials aren't cheap either. They're like orbs. You don't want to waste your only blossoming materials on this guy. Like,
yeah, and that's
just use base Seraphy.
It's orbs and blossoming materials. And look, I've had my account for less than 2 months now. It's close to 2 months. Like, I got up to like door 37 last month, but like, dude, I've been no-lifing this game. I know what I'm doing. I spent a little bit of money getting some units. I started at a fairly good time. Not everybody is going to get to go up to door 37 in their first month. So, these blossom materials are limited at first. And they honestly stay limited. So yeah, like when some people argue for some of these blossoms, my favorite one is Gorsby. Okay. People argue that Gorsby is still usable. And I'm like, yeah, sure, he's usable. Sure, but as a new player, if you put orbs into him, how long is he going to be good for you? A couple months, so he takes orbs and blossom materials. So, yeah, obviously you can picture a lot of scenarios where he's good, but like your very limited orbs, your very limited blossom materials, hell no.
I mean, he gets agility up. He does. I would rank him higher than Royal Reptile simply because of the agility buff. Obviously. I would probably put him at a B.
Yeah.
But that'd be about it.
We'll jump ahead. Yeah, we'll say he's B tier, and I completely agree with that. Yeah. All right. So anyway, Great Dragon. C or D, man? I mean, he's he was agile, but he's not getting an agility buff. So, like, natural agility is never going to outpace units with agility buffs.
I mean, it's breath type damage. If you have a good breath team setup, if you have Zenlon,
yeah,
he could be useful there. But I mean, I just wouldn't, even if I had Zenlon, I don't see myself putting orbs into him.
No.
I just don't anymore,
Yeah, you can
That's
find some use for this guy on a PvE stage or something like that, but you know, maybe if they had like a crack 50% arena week or something. Uh, but no,
I
he's
just
just
don't
never.
remember the last time I saw this guy in RTA, and that's another thing to go off of.
That's a
Because
free
at least
unit in
once in a
RTA right now.
while, I'll see once in a while I'll still see Goresby, I'll still see Queen Slime, but I definitely I don't think I've ever seen Great Dragon. Period.
No, he was dead last year when RTA came out. So, oh man, talk about disappointing blossoms. Hell Gladiator. God, they pretty much, what did they do? They gave him agility in his blossom, and then, um, what he like envenomated stuff when he died or something like that, or
I have to
it
take
might
a
have only
look
been
because
poison.
I don't even think I never even touched his
Nobody
blossom. I
did.
left it alone.
He got a decent ability, but like he didn't get any survivability. And there
I
was
mean, he
nothing.
deals major breath damage in a T to all enemies and often envenomates. Okay, that's cool. What else
Oh,
does he do?
yeah, envenomation is not worthless in PvP, but even that damage gets reduced, and you're generally not trying to go 3, 4, 5 rounds in PvP. So yeah, envenomate's just bad. It's not
Yeah,
worth
because
extra points basically.
generally by turn 3, most of the matches are over.
Yeah.
Like you already know who's winning. You you don't need to, you're not getting to a match that's a 10 turn fight. And if you are, Hell Gladiator isn't going to be one of those units that's there. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, going back, Seth is pointing out something very important that I didn't know. Emperor Slime's block. Why? What the fuck is going on in Discord? Why does it keep? Anyway, sorry. I don't know how to turn the beeping
Hmm.
off. Emperor Blossom takes a buttload of lotuses.
They mentioned 16 flowers. Like I've never blossomed Emperor. I mean, pretty much most of the ones I've skipped, there's a good reason for it.
How do I mute? I'm so bad at this stuff.
You'll figure it out one day. Just treat it like OnlyFans.
Do I do it from here, maybe? Mute server for 3 hours. Okay. That was getting way too annoying.
Oh, people were pinging you or something?
Like, I'm sure it was coming up on the thing. It was just like the little Discord notification beeps. And,
Oh, I have all that shit turned off because
like,
I
people
just
are
don't
used to,
give a
like, yeah,
fuck.
when you see somebody, like, streaming their desktop, there's always one or two Discord pings, but it was like, beep, 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 like, anyway. Okay, so, yeah,
Probably people were upset with you already. That travels fast.
always. So, like I was saying, Emperor Slime took, like, a ridiculous amount of Blossom materials for his Blossom, too, so even more trash. But, so Hell Gladiator, you know what made me angry, though, is, dude, you were day one. This man, Hell Gladiator, we all owe him a debt. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
He
he cleared
was
Orochi. We cleared Orochi with him.
he was
We cheesed that fight.
he was actually the MVP. He was the unspoken MVP of DQT for what, 3 months? It actually didn't last that long. Because like I think it
Hey,
was after
James.
Zoma, they just made everything like, okay, so 100% poison resist doesn't work anymore. Like it never did. So let's just give them a perk that says immune to everything now. Cheating.
That was the
bastards.
precursor to whatever we're going to put out, we could nerf at some point. So have fun, kids.
Yeah, I think Zoma was the last boss that. No, so Orochi could. So they still left it there, but
Yeah.
After Zoma, it was intentional if they wanted you to be able to poison something. But yeah, he deserved a lot more respect.
Yeah, because we cheesed that fight. We avoided the ads. We just set the poison up and just waited and then knocked them down, and that was the fight.
Man, Metal Dragon. Man, when he blossomed, follow-ups weren't unique, but I think the only other follow-up unit was Paranol, right? Like, and she was dead out of the gate.
I don't even remember using her, so
Nobody did.
Yeah.
Although she's one of my most awakened units on my account, thank you. I got Paranol at 300.
I mean, I did max out, Metal Dragon's Blossom for a time. We used it,
Oh,
but
he's the one I was
that
most
came and
excited
went
for.
quickly.
His first of all, his kit was fun, and it was good. This was actually one of the general pool units that took me the longest to get. I could not pull a copy of Metal Dragon. It was like I think it was near the first year anniversary, or no, maybe it was the 6 month. I'm thinking it took me a long.
I mean,
time
hell,
to get
I just got Goresby a couple months ago. If that gives you any indication of how messed up things can be.
Yeah. I don't like you can still find a use for his Blossom, but he's definitely outshined by other things. You know, if he resisted like the newest giant boss bot, why am I saying words wrong? The newest giant boss battle, maybe you can make an argument because he's got that follow up. I think it's a 40% chance, and it's actually an AOE follow up that has a chance to lower defense
With the debuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I could see that. Yeah, maybe if the defense
he,
is
if he
you know,
also resists the boss and it's like something where you're taking a lot of splash damage, maybe. But the reality is you still can't orb this guy anymore. But dude, I can't put him in D rank though. But I don't think he's better.
He had his use and he had his time. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I could see him still being like this would still be a unit that you would like be happy to have like blossomed and ranked in your box, but realistically, if he's not ranked now, you should not be touching him.
No. I mean, it's just his time has come and went. It's over.
Now, Prism Peacock. What do you think? S, A, B, C?
You know, I never even touched his Blossom. I just heard horrible things about it and never used him.
Yeah, I mean, if he had his Blossom kit at launch, like if he had that move at launch, maybe, but you know, it was already still at the point where it's like, okay, if you're 3 move and you still don't have any range, like, you know, that's not enough.
I mean, he was one of those units that I was talking about with Pack before his breakdown that was like, if anything needed a new Blossom or a new gimmick, he needed a redo.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Carol.
So I mean, yeah, he's in the shit pile.
Had a chance. He, you know, honestly, he probably could have done some damage. Like he was among the worst of the OG Blossoms, but he was probably decent. But I mean, now he's completely dead. Do you want to make an argument for White King? He blossomed shortly after I left. They gave him agility and like he lowers enemy movement when he dies.
I mean, I do like his new spell. I did blossom him. I did use him a little bit.
Is that the 6 tile wide double swish or something? Or
yeah, that's the 5 tile wish type of major
5
damage.
Tile wide. Okay, dual swoosh.
Yeah,
okay.
white swoosh is what it's called.
Okay.
Or, yeah,
and I mean he's gonna be agile, like he's fast, but he's got.
I mean,
he always had.
He's got no HP. Yeah, he's got
Frizz
nothing.
And Sizz weakness, right? Frizz is almost never hard to find. Frizz is a pretty common element, last I knew.
Basically, the only time you could use him is in PvE with a cover tank, keeping him safe from getting owned. That's it. Because he does have MP regen on his base kit.
Yes.
So, I mean, he has some value as a spellcaster, but
I mean,
you're not using him in RTA.
The Royal Reptiles fight in the Blossom Doors. He's actually useful there.
Yes, yeah. Even with the Blossom as well, you can just.
I think there's one
really
strategy where you just use AI manipulation to get them lined up. He can actually do it himself, like not relying on a tank. Like you can just have the stupid AI sit behind the pillar and he'll blast him.
Right, because of his zap resistance. So you get them lined up. I mean, it's a really old strat where they're lined up on the right side of the field.
And it takes
the AI
forever,
is
but,
locked.
Like he will eventually like regen his MP.
Right, he will eventually kill them and take them out.
You don't think he deserves B tier though, right?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where, if you have a max awakened and you don't have any sort of wish damage, cool, but he's just got no HP.
His resistances don't even like he can take some light damage from his resistances, but I mean he has no HP. They gave him 0 additional
I mean, just to give you an idea, an S8 White King has 762 HP base. 762.
Yeah. All right, so Nightclubber. I think this.
S.
Do you think he's still S? Just for PVE, obviously, right?
Just for PVE, he's one of those units. He's got high crit chance. I mean, you still see him used in some strategies where you're fighting multiple opponents. He just goes up and he goes to town, and even better with the new accessories added. The tough guy tattoo. If he kills something, he gets voltage. So the next turn he has even more damage, and he just starts swinging even more. So I mean, with the addition of the extra stat caps being removed from 999, physical wins. I mean, spellcasters get shit on. No spellcasters breaking 999 wisdom, and if they were, it wouldn't matter. But for physical, sky's the limit. I mean, you get that guy. I'm curious, what would be my max attack?
Oh, dude, I think when even rank 7 was a thing, when it was only rank 7 or even rank 6, I think, if he buffed his defense twice, he was at cap. I think he was like 700 natural.
Defense. Yeah, no, his defense was ridiculous. I mean, it easily will go
is so
over.
often worthless because it literally only affects physical damage. So martial, breath, spell, defense doesn't matter one little bit. But, I mean, when you are actually taking on a physical unit, when you've got defense that high, it can be pretty sweet.
So, just to give you an idea with like, best stats, his base attack is like 631. So, I mean, the dude's definitely going to be swinging for the fences with the voltage up and with some of the gear. And then his defense is 856. So, I mean, if you're doing a physical fight against the AI, he's not going to be taking a lot of damage.
And when you're talking about PvE, Young Terry's like a staple for most stages, right? So he's going to get attack.
Oh yeah, easy. He's going to get his attack buff, and then he's going to get the follow-up attack buff because most people have Young Terry to at least Awaken 1 for the follow-up. I mean, Awaken 3 maybe not. But
so I figured you would say he's still useful, but still S. Okay, so he's still trying to. Now, if you say that about him, I haven't looked at his kit much. I've heard that Great Troll is like a new version.
Great Troll has a follow-up Zam ability. Great Troll is crazy. I mean, it's one of those units where if you have him maxed, I still need to S8. I'm waiting for the update so I can get the cheap S8 on him, but I mean, that's a nice ability there. And TNT has a Zam weak stage, so I mean, he's really good there. He's like an ace unit you get to use for very hard mode.
If he gets mitigation, but he's also a beefy unit. He actually doesn't have high defense, but he's got a buttload of HP.
He's definitely tanky. Let me double check and see what the stats on my Great Troll are. Let's look, because I have F7.
This was, by the way, just a note. This was one of the longest guys to. Was he the last Blossom out of the OG 13?
It was him and Nightclubber, or not him and him and Emperor were the last ones. Yeah, because I was like saying that whoever, towards the tail end, whoever was like one of the last ones was going to get a good Blossom, and Emperor got shit on, and he got all the goodies.
The thing is Emperor actually, I said before, I'm like, maybe they were waiting on his Blossom because his stats were actually good. He's beefy. His attack wasn't terrible. He just had no mobility and no good attack. So you put a halfway decent attack on him, give him a little mobility.
And then just to give you an idea, his base HP at S7 max awakens 1425. So with no gear. So I mean, the guy is probably another 100, a little bit more.
As you would think, but like obviously you're going to get at least another 50 HP.
Yeah,
because you really don't get that many points from 10 more levels.
So I mean, if you put the attack gear on him and you give him some HP armor, I mean, at S7 he's sitting at 1508 and 655 attack. So he's got good attack.
Okay, so is he S tier or A?
I'd probably put him for A because unlike Nightclubber, who is just complete physical, it's just typeless damage. This is more of a situational elemental type damage.
Well, I mean, it's still type neutral 75% of the time, but
right. But
Okay,
He's still
and you
got.
know, and you're not critting. Sometimes the crits matter too. So, does his new attack move him around too?
It does. It's kind of
Okay,
like
so that's
Queen Slime, so he
that's
moves
harder
up to
for
3
PvE
spaces.
setup. So yeah, so Nightclubber still has, you can set it up and just leave Nightclubber there, pile the things in front of him, bam, 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 bam. So okay, Archdemon, man, Archdemon's Blossom was awesome when he got it. Like
I
there's
like the spell. I mean, it's good
amazing
range.
range. Yeah, even now the range is
But
good, but
he's a caster, so he gets fucked in that regard because unlike everybody else, where the caps are going and you could potentially get more damage out of everybody, it's safe damage though. If you want somebody who's able to launch, he's got the same type of range as Zoma, and he's got the same type of range as Vern in terms of their spell damage. It's safe damage. If you don't, if you had to choose between Squidzilla and Archdemon, I'd probably choose Archdemon.
I wanted to say like maybe he's the best of the D tier, but I mean we got 5 tiers here. I'll say that he's C tier, bottom.
I'd
Second
give
from
him
the bottom.
C. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, these units. Honestly, I think B and below. My argument is you're never gonna have orbs for them, like unless you start wailing out if you're a new player. But if you're in if some scenario like you actually had him already orbed up, he's nice to have in your box.
Yeah, he's not bad, but I mean, he isn't somebody who's like, man, I'm a starting player. What should I do? Like, he's an afterthought at this point.
Now you're a fan of this unit, the hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, I am. It's got one of the highest agility caps. I mean,
he's the OG definitive glass cannon of this game. But the thing is,
yeah,
he wasn't that much of a cannon. Like, actually,
no, he wasn't. He wasn't that much of a cannon. If anything,
he'd get up there.
You used it for status ailments.
Do some decent.
You would go up. You'd sleep.
Yeah.
Or you would paralyze, and you would just lock down the team turn 1.
Yeah.
Because even if you did hit with everybody, the only times you would really kill like Forest Dragon or Rose Guardian is if they had a couple of units they were tanking at once, like they were protecting. Like he was a good buster back in the day. You could really mess up Forest Dragon and Rose Guardian with him. But then he's instantly dead afterwards. I mean, he's not coming out of that alive.
In the early days of RTA, like, if he did enough damage round 1, it didn't matter that he died. Like, in Arena, it's like...
he was great. I used him in RTA. I mean, there's still probably video footage out there of me using him and just messing up Erdrick with him, which is hysterical.
But even
a 58 taking out a 65.
But like even unless you're really really skilled, like something like Arena or GVG, if you screw up, like he can't take a single hit. So if you don't want to use units, you can't bring him. But like Arena, in RTA, it's like okay, if he fucks things up on the first turn, okay, it's fine if he dies right away.
But that was a different time. That was before all these agility units started coming into play. Because again, there was a time where he was the fastest unit.
I believe
period.
He still has
like
the fastest
nobody was,
stat. He might.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't matter because he doesn't get it buffed. So, is he
right.
C tier? Or does he go all the way down to D?
I'd probably put him in D tier. I mean, there's just not really much of a use for the guy anymore.
Definitely
I mean, it's
better
Frizz.
I'd say he's definitely better than everything else down there, or at least.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the 4 move. He's got, he's got some things going for him. But
and like you said, him and you put Sweet Breath on him. You put
Paralyzed, Burning Breath.
Yeah. By the way, didn't he? I forget. Does Breath Tricks does that affect effects too? It had a 10%.
No, it doesn't. It's just for his attack abilities.
Because we figured that out ages ago and I forgot. Dread Dragon. So I've heard some people like kind of hem and haw about him. Like he still has good range for single target, and there's not.
He's got good range, and there's not really a lot of sizz damage on the board.
Yeah, there's not
especially
tons of sizz damage, but there's
like
I said before, the first 6 months to even the first year of the game, there's barely any sizz damage. Before he came out, there was no sizz damage among
I mean,
S-Ranks.
until what was his name? Halbert Suris came out from the arena pool.
Yeah, that was after 6 months, so...
Yeah.
Right? I can't remember the first.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. What
Or was he the
did
first
arena
arena
come
unit?
out in? Yeah, Halberd was the first arena
Oh,
unit.
okay,
I
so
think
that
arena
was 4
dropped in
months. 3 or
April
4
or
months.
May. So what? January, February, March, April, May. So like 5 months. 5 months. Halberd came in.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Dread Dragon not dead. I could see you still putting him in C tier. You're never gonna orb him, but like, you know, still got range. He's still sizz damage. You know, it's a unit that would definitely be nice to have maxed in your box, but I mean, realistically, you never could. Yeah. Killing Machine. Man, this guy was a lot of fun when he was awesome.
He's a gamble unit. I mean, you could definitely use him for some EX content where it's crack week because he was the first unit to get the chance to do a double attack action.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could literally use his Falcon ability, and if he was buffed up, you could, not even on a crit, he could do like 8k damage in a turn. I mean, he could do some real damage. And then if he crit on top of that, I mean, you could go through one volley with this guy, and you've already done over 10k damage to a boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous, but...
And on PvE stages,
you know,
you can... If he can do the damage that he needs to turn 1, you can reset. Like, it's not hard to get the right turn.
Right,
1.
it's not hard, and also if he doesn't get killed, he gets, you know, his HP back and he gets buffed up.
Right.
So he's got, you know, he's got at least some survivability involved where he can go another turn if he doesn't get killed. It's just, you know, he's got the confusion weakness, he's got the bang weakness. He's not gonna be a blitzer or anything, so he's not really an RTA unit. He's just strictly a really good PvE unit.
His Blossom gave him, like, he was like 3 movement with a single target spell. Now he's still movement 3, but with a single target range 1 or 2 ability, which is not, it's barely, like, it's significantly better, but it's not even close to good enough. So
and again,
PvE only.
It's just the gimmick. His gimmick is awesome.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that gimmick, I would have just thrown him in D tier. But I mean, you know,
is he good enough?
He does
B?
that ability twice. You know,
I think he's better than the C tier units. Like,
I think so too, because he gets the recovery. He has that chance to do some real damage. I mean, if you look at the C tier, none of those guys are going to be able to do 10k damage in a turn.
No.
None of those guys are going to be, you know, able to do.
These guys are mostly like,
any of that.
Theoretically, I could see them being useful. You could still get a lot of mileage out of Killing Machine and PvE. But
yeah, not PvP, mind you. I would not. I haven't seen that dude in PvP in a long time, but
dude, I love
PvE,
seeing him
yeah.
in PvP because he was so easy. Like, he was an easy kill in PvP. Yeah, I mean, you could screw up and he might hit you and do some damage, but he was so easy to take care of in PvP. You literally just put an evasion unit in front of him and then stop worrying about him. Kill him passively with Splash.
It's over.
All right. Dude, all right, so I can't imagine in what scenario this could happen, but, like, did the character of Lionheart fuck one of the developers' wives or something? Because somebody hated the ever-loving shit out of this guy with what they did with his Blossom. We haven't gotten it yet. It's like a month or 2 away.
We haven't gotten it. It's getting ready to come out, and
his Blossom, the Blossom perk actually translates to "fuck you, Lionheart." Dude, they gave him a 1 range ability, single target, that just does extra damage to dragons. No mitigation, no mobility.
I basically just blocked out. You know, normally I would be like excited for like certain units getting blossoms, but I didn't remember anything positive about this guy coming up, and I just forgot all about it and moved on to other shit.
He was good for a long time. You know, I think he...
Oh, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, good whoosh damage. He has 3
is not
moves.
going to improve him almost. You'll get the standard Blossom boost. You know, you get more he will be better, but realistically, his Blossom isn't helping him at all.
No.
I don't even. They're probably giving him like 250 HP nodes. I can't remember. With or without Blossom, I think he's still D tier. He's
just, I mean, his Blossom could have really done some stuff with him and made him a lot better. They could have even taken, like, I don't know, maybe his fight in the Blossoming Doors, they could have given him those abilities or something, anything, and they just shit on him.
the reality. I mean, he's probably C tier, like with his Blossom, but like, no. I mean, they fucked him.
I just don't feel good telling people to spend on him in any capacity.
No, that's the thing. I could see him being strong enough to get some use in an easy PvE fight or something. But the reality is you'll never spend on him.
No.
And I think this is Party Animal. It might be the wrong one. I'm pretty sure this is Party Animal. Juliante. Man, her Blossom gave her a lot of utility with her occasional or chance of buffing attack around her, but attack buffs are less valuable than they were a year or two ago. Still good, but
I mean, it's not bad, but again,
there's other damage types.
You've got units like Terry, you've got Seraphy, you've got even what was it, Estella?
And look, I know you can tell. I know you can give me exceptions, but let's be honest. The first year of this game, it was only physical damage.
Outside of
I know there was a spot here or there.
There was somewhere
casters were where it was at, and then literally when rank 6 came, with all of the A rank spellcasters literally not improving. Okay, they got 5%.
We're basically in the same situation again, where it's like. We're in a situation where physical is getting a lot, and you look at all these spellcasters and everything, and it's like, what the hell are they going to do to balance their damage out?
All right, so I don't know exactly how it works. Wisdom and attack, like the damage calculations are a bit different. I noticed this way back with Old King Mortimer. He had a every turn wisdom buff. And I realized his damage only got like a little bit better with each stack of wisdom.
Right, because there's like a definitive wisdom number for each spell. Yeah. I forget what those numbers are. I just know that Zoma was the one where one of the abilities, I think it was his Psycho Cannon, the Blossom one, had like a cap of 950.
Okay.
Dude's not hitting 950 wisdom.
Yeah.
He might get close. Well, maybe at rank 9, but dude's not hitting that. But everybody else, usually, they can get to their wisdom caps, and then it's like,
So unless they change
off.
like some of the damage formula, because the different spells have different formulas, but buffing attack is straight up better than buffing wisdom. So buffing wisdom is a lot less valuable. The last time I saw, I could be wrong. I'm out of the loop.
There's only a couple of spellcasters where giving them a wisdom up buff really helps, and that's Zoma and I think Vern. I don't remember any others where if you gave them extra wisdom, it would really make a difference. And, Zoma's not going to be on this list. He's not general pool. And Vern is never going to be on this list because he's a specialty exclusive unit. So, yeah.
But, the thing, Juliante is still fast as hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, she's definitely, one of the faster units.
Yeah.
Because of how she has the agility on start.
So I think she's worth saying that she's C tier. You can't afford to blossom her anymore, but there's still some use out there. Jaguar got blossomed, like 6 months ago? Probably-ish. Like this year.
Let me see.
I know it was this
year. He got blossomed. I haven't touched it yet, but let me take a look and see what he got. He got a wild dive. Ability.
He
got
put out
HP.
Strong single target damage because he had the chance to buff his attack. It was probably only 20 or 40%, but it was a double attack buff. It always seems to be
with his Blossom on battle start, it raises attack, evasion rate, and breath resistance for 3 turns.
Okay.
And then he's got another ability, action start, occasionally grants 1x3 physical potency recovery for 1 turn. So he's got some things. Yeah, he's definitely got some things that help him do more damage, and the evasion and the breath resistance isn't bad.
Evasion's always nice. Do you think he deserves A tier or just B?
I'd probably give him A just because he's got 4 move.
Yeah,
He's
and that's the
got,
thing. It's a
you know,
chance on two of, but he can triple attack buff himself. He can have triple attack buff turn one, and like we were saying before, in PVE, if you have just a little bit of patience, you can make Zoe's always starting with that triple attack buff in a PVE stage.
right. And then he opens up for a really good attack, and you just go to town.
Yeah. All right. All right. So, waifu number 2, Spooky Valencia. I mean, that's just there's no use for her anymore, right? I mean, I'm not forgetting anything. Her
I
blossom
mean,
was Zam damage was actually rare when she blossomed, so she shined for a minute there, but still
trying
wasn't
to
that
think if
strong.
I actually blossomed her up. I
And
don't
we
know if
got
I
like
did or not.
she actually never really got a chance to shine on global because they added her to the we got fucked on her being in the general pool.
Yeah, she was added late. I mean, the
Really
nice
late.
thing about her blossom is she does get 10% on runaway magic, so I mean she has a higher chance to crit, which is really cool with her abilities, but
It's cool,
she
but I
got
never.
released out of sync. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of Zam damage, maybe I would put her at C because she's the, only real one with some really good Zam. I mean, yeah, you have White King,
If you want to
but
say,
that's it.
I think D, but I will bow to your expertise.
Yeah, I'd probably, because I mean, there's some situations where you could still
You
use
know what?
her.
We should say she C because Santa or whatever Crystal Linda is definitely D tier.
I don't even remember using her.
Well,
I just don't.
I didn't test it side by side, but apparently the A rank version of her was stronger. Even after her
Wouldn't
blossom.
fucking surprise me. It just would not surprise me at this point.
All right. So all right, we're nearly an hour in. So let me see. Dimension Dragon.
Probably B or A. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean,
B?
he has his gimmick where he goes through walls, so he goes through terrain. He got a decent blossom with damage. I saw him in PvP at least a little bit.
I got the feeling that he would probably be like I haven't seen him in action. I looked at his kit. I would say he's probably worse than these units, but yeah, he's definitely better than all of B ranks. So
Yeah.
Now,
and then if you want to speed up a little bit, I would put Forest Dragon and Seraphine in S. I mean, Forest Dragon, obvious reasons. I mean,
yeah,
he gets his selfless cover.
Bro, you fucked up. I was gonna make a dig at say I would ask Trop about Forest Dragon, but he's still in line at the soup kitchen. But no, you fucked it up because you had to speed things up.
Yep. You're like, well, we're an hour into this. I'm like, yeah, I should be going back to DQM 3 here soon.
Yes.
And if you're not playing that, you're poor.
Thank you for your attention. I really thought you'd be like some autistic kid with your face on the screen the entire time.
No, I'm not going to do that to you. I don't want to have
Dragon,
your Christmas relived.
And you know what? Like the thing about Forest Dragon, I keep getting a lot of copies. I got mine to 4 hearts, I think. Maybe.
I mean, he's a really good unit, and if you took a look at Metazoa's tournament that he did, most people they use Forest Dragon and they also use Vera, and I saw a couple even use Seraphine.
Yeah, a thing about Vera that somebody else pointed this out to another unit. You got to take in account actually like space in stages. The nice thing about her is that she has a decent range on her ability, and then she backs up and gets the hell out of the way. So that's good for her protection, but
with
also,
the potential to hobble.
Now
so
something else can have that prime spot to sit there and whack something.
Right. Plus, she has. I mean, her agility can get to like 1100.
Yeah, and
with
sometimes
3 buffs, it's ridiculous.
What do they call it? Like flipping agility, like. So you start back on turn 1, then you hit something, and then you go before on turn 2, and she'll have So it's pretty easy to hit 2 things on turn 1. So she gets an evasion and agility stack for each unit she hits. So yeah,
Now, mind you, she still is kind of squishy if she gets slept, if spell hits her, but still you can, if you can get her to go at least 1 action, and she doesn't get CC'd. She'll be going again next turn. So she's really good in that regard. And doesn't have a lot of PvE, per se, because it's limited mana.
I think,
but definitely still a relevant PvP unit.
Doesn't she buff other beast units? Like I could see her.
I don't remember her buffing anybody. She does.
I know the Lion does. I thought she did, but yeah, it doesn't. She does something to adjacent beast units, but yeah, probably still not very limited PVE use. And then just quick, I
Yeah.
know we say everything's gonna be quick. Seraphi's still the best healer in the game, right?
Oh, one of the best healers because she has the reactive.
So there's other
I mean,
healers that have other things now, but like
the only other healer that I would say that would rival her is Togi. Togi's heal. What
She's-
Togi's heal does is when she heals, she also does healing effect up. So everything that has a healing effect, like Zenlon's
oh,
ability, Halberds, they all get an
so dragon
increase in
scale
their
actually
ability.
becomes a lot more significant. Okay, that's good to know.
That's so I would
but
say her, but
if,
she's you have to buy her.
if you're trying to drain some MP on some weird PVE fight, she's the only one that can do that fight still, right?
For the most part.
Helper
Well,
Seraphine,
no,
MP
Togi also gets an MP regen ability as well, where she can
Oh.
just top up. Yes,
I think
she's
Seraphine would
good.
still be better at that because of Helper Seraphine, but okay, so Togehime is good. Okay, cool.
Togi, but she's more for breath and martial because
Yeah.
she
And then,
buffs breath and martial attack
again,
and has a follow up attack.
outside Wales, maybe you have Togehime and maybe she's at like one awakening. Seraphine, within a couple of months, if you're going after normal banner, she's going to have awakenings on her.
Yeah, Seraphi's a good
So,
unit to have.
And she hasn't even got all these units we're talking about are with their blossoms. Seraphine is never going to get blossomed.
No, Seraphi's not getting a blossom anytime soon. I mean, if anything, the next unit that's going to get a blossom is probably Nocturnus.
All right, and then since we talked about her, Marquis de Lyon, or Marquis, whatever.
I mean, he gets Indomitable. He gets a small heal. He has good range.
So,
I mean,
he's got interesting range.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's better than B tier. Not a great A tier, but he's got to be B. Right? You don't think he's S, do you? I haven't seen him.
No, I don't think he's S. I mean, I've seen him in
Indomitable is strong,
PvP
though.
before. I mean, it's definitely saved. It saved him before. I would probably leave him an A. I mean, he's got some use. If you have him to where he's got awakenings on him, he's cool. He's great. I mean, it's if you look at the S tier, what has them stand out is even if they're low awakenings, all those guys are really good. For Marquise, Marquis, I would probably say he'd need to have 3 to 5 awakenings to really shine.
And he does have that thing where he definitely buffs beast, but on even turns.
Yeah.
But then you got to bring other good beast units, so it's not a big enough buff that it's worth bringing inferior beasts for the most part. But yeah, so okay, he's cool. Like I can definitely see him being worth orbs. He's still far down on this list. So, but he's definitely still good. Overkilling Machine, I heard this guy hits like a truck.
Oh, he does. I mean, I was watching him hit for like 2K in that tournament. It's a ridiculous amount of damage.
Do you think he's S tier?
I wouldn't put him as S tier because he just doesn't have the utility to be able to really go and do the damage
So just
in terms of like competitive play. But I would put him in upper A.
I'd say he's
just for the amount of damage.
The best of A tier here, right? Just from what I don't know. Maybe you want to argue for Great Troll, but yeah, from hearsay and what I saw in his kit, he looks like the best A tier.
I mean, he does some really good damage. I mean, mind you though, Killing Machine and B tier could still technically out damage him if it's a crack resistant foe, but
of course,
not bad.
Yeah, and he starts with the double attack. Well, he always started with a single or double attack buff. I think he gets more now.
Right.
So yeah, he's hitting hard early. I don't think his range got that much better, so he's not. Well, he's got some PvP ability, but anyway, Barbados. Barbados was never great. Barbados was okay.
Never got really much use. I'm trying to even see where mine is in my box just to look it over because I never. Outside of watching him get used in that tournament, I don't think I've ever.
He was dual
seen him in action
when that was pretty rare. To have like crack and Sizz, and Sizz, while there were Sizz options, there weren't many. So at launch, like he was good.
Oh, I've actually got him to 4 awaken.
Well, of course. Oh, You weren't whaling then, so he's in the
No,
yeah.
no.
So you've just gotten him along the way. He's been on a lot
Yeah,
of
along the
bangers.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't even have a blossom yet. What
No.
is he?
So because of
So
that, I
he
mean,
has Brimming Magic, grants the user 1.5 times spell potency recovery for 1 turn, and raises spell resistance for 3 turns. So I mean, he could. That's interesting, but yeah, he's got the bang and sizz, but he's a spellcaster, so it's like, eh.
I mean, he's due to have JP announce his blossom, like, literally
At some
anytime.
point,
Every week it's like,
that.
okay, are they finally blossoming? So just because of that,
So
I
I
guess
mean,
C tier.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For right now, he's got room to grow. We don't know. I mean, maybe his blossom ends up like Slyheart, and we throw him down a tier, or maybe he goes up. But for right now, we just don't have enough info on him.
Yeah, Gem Slime's a similar situation. Um, the thing I would definitely put Gem Slime ahead of like Barbados. Not that matters because his multi heal does heal status conditions.
Yeah, clear
You could
status on it.
argue,
Yeah,
you could argue use for that like right now. Maybe we should put him in B tier.
I've seen him in RTA once in a while. I mean,
RTA is
he's a unique
status
unit.
conditions are big in PvP. Granted, it's like there's so many fucking heroes now that just have the flat out status immunity, not flat out, but basically full status immunity is getting a little bit old, but then again, statuses are kind of cheap in PvP too, so anyway, yeah, I think it's good to say he's in B tier, and he hasn't gotten a blossom either.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Schleiman again. Schleiman I never saw Schleiman. He came when I wasn't playing. He's got follow-ups, right? I don't know how strong they were, but I don't think
I
they
don't
blossomed
think
him.
I've ever used him. Let me see if I actually have that unit. I do have him one awakened. He doesn't have a blossom currently. Let me look at his perks because I think he's one of those ones where he starts to shine at 3 awake. So at 3 awake, he gets a spell reflect for 2 turns.
Oh.
At 5 awake, he gets an occasional raises martial potency for 1 turn. But here's the thing. How many people are likely, even as a new player, to get this guy at 3 or 5 awake?
I mean, I've pulled
he was
2
recently
copies of
added
him
to this general
so
pool,
far.
right?
I think so. I think he's the latest wave. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, I'm almost
if you have him higher awakened, I'd probably put him a bit higher. But if we're going based off of new players or just in general, I think him being in C tier is pretty good. I mean, again, asterisk. If you have him higher awakened, there's definitely a higher priority. But there's
maybe B if he were highly awakened, but and then
because he's part of that trend where as you've noticed with you need like 3 awakens to really utilize the unit.
But yeah, okay. And then again, so he's gonna get blossom, so you still can't say he's bottom tier because he'll probably be usable with a blossom. That's not a guarantee though. But and then Grakos, he's got a T-shaped neutral breath that has occasional or offensive.
Sleep on it. Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting unit. I've never really played with him, but I could have a case for him being interesting.
Yeah, like I can still see him being used in plenty of PvE stages, although I don't know how often you rely on sleep anymore, but I don't know. He just seems better than all the C rank units to me, and
because he's got utility.
I can still see him having some use, and he's gonna get a blossom like any time now, so I don't know. Should I keep him out of C? Let's put him at the bottom of B just because the C tier is filled up.
Yeah, I would give him the B tier. I mean, he's got some interesting moveset. I mean, on top of that, he also has the ability to, he could actually lower move as well with that. I don't think I could see that move being used often, but he could reduce move. He's got his waterfall, which works on lowering crack resistance. So, I mean, he could be a pretty good PvE unit where you're reducing crack damage
or
crack resistance.
MP regen can always give you... There's always going to be, like... I don't know about the last 10 Blossom Doors, but I know there were a couple where, things just have a lot of HP. So, MP regen is always kind of nice.
So, yeah, I mean, even at low awakening, I can see this guy being some somewhat
Yeah,
useful.
let's just say he's a crappy B tier. And then I'm pretty sure this is Uber Killing Machine, right? I think he just got added. Um, I don't know if this guy's got. He probably still hits well. Probably not anywhere near modern units though.
I mean, does he even have a Blossom yet? I don't think I've
No,
ever. I'm looking through.
no, he came out close to the 1.5, so they're not quite there yet. Well,
Yeah, no, I've got him
I
one
think he was
awakened.
before Dora though. They just blossomed Dora, so
I mean, he's got gear shift, raises the user's agility and move for 3 turns. He's not like a PvP unit, but I mean, maybe you could. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. So
I
he's
just
probably
don't.
still strong enough to
Yeah,
say like, if you get a lot of copies of this guy, you know his blossom will be at least decent because they don't screw the killing machine units.
right. They'll
So
they'll do something good with him. I mean,
well,
hell,
you
they gave
definitely don't
Killing
want to lord this
Machine.
guy, but not now. But
No,
if you got okay, so right now, if you're a new player, you got him at 5 hearts. Actually, definitely awaken him or rank him rather if he's at 5 hearts. But you know,
but otherwise,
after
I
your
I wouldn't do
conditions.
anything with him. I
Right.
mean,
Did you look at Dora's blossom? I don't remember everything about it, but
no, I didn't. I didn't look
it's
at her
Zan
Blossom at
Marshall.
all.
I don't think she gets much for survivability. I don't think her damage gets that much better.
And to be fair, I left her at 0. You know, she was 0 awakened, so I left her at S4. I never even put orbs into her.
She's probably B tier. Like you're probably not gonna have. It's another one, dude. If you got like a lot of copies of her for some reason, because that happens sometimes. Sometimes you're like, wow, I just keep getting this same general pool. Unit.
Right. I mean, that happened to
If,
one of our guild members. They got I think it was Neiman or whatever his name was. They got like 3 copies of him, and they max awakened him out of nowhere. I was like, what was the odds of that happening?
dude, I know I'm hoping that Nimzo, the monster form Nimzo, gets a good blossom because I pulled a couple of copies of him already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think he's at like 2 or 3 hearts now. Anyway, yeah, so she's probably a B. You know, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Sagittar, yeah, I like Sagittar. Maybe it's just because I think it looks like a Xeon Gundam. I mean, dude, that's a Xeon. That's a Xeon eye.
Yeah, Xeon mobile suit.
Yeah, because it doesn't even look like the other classic killing machine. That's definitely like the Zaku eye. Yeah. It's got big range. It's got a large fan, large fan.
Did he get his Blossom already, or
No.
where's that coming soon? Because
No, and he starts with double evasion. I can't remember agility. I don't think he gets an agility buff. I can't recall. I don't know. I want to say he's B, especially since he hasn't even gotten a blossom. This guy still has a little powder left in the keg, I think. But again, I'm out of the loop. I really just like him.
I've never used him. I mean, I've left him at S4 because I only had him 1 awakening, and I think I'm looking through his set now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 awaken, he gets a buff. I mean, it's one of those things where he just now entered the general pool. So, I mean, if you don't have him higher awakenings,
you're right. You know,
you're locked out of his abilities.
Those older units, like only whales cared about anything past the first awakening. You know, 3rd and 5th were just like, oh, that'll be neat to find out next year. You know? So yeah, now it's like, oh, the 3rd and 5th awakenings matter. So I pay attention to those. Dual Magus, I'll just talk about why he's an S. He has full evasion for physical and martial the first 3 turns. Relatively agile, and he's martial damage, so it's okay to put it's easier to put agility gear on him.
I mean, people still use him for busting GVG and for PvE strats.
It's very easy to abuse the AI with evasion. The for those of you that don't know yet, the enemy AI can pick up on reflect, but they don't pick up on physical evasion. So he's fairly weak, which is actually good. He has low HP, low defense, so the enemy looks at him and they said, I can kill that little bitch in 1 hit, and they'll miss every time. Full physical evasion for 3 turns. So he's still amazing in PvE. Still has some.
And the fact that he got ended, he ended up in the general pool is awesome.
Yeah,
that is a great unit. If you have to re-roll,
no
and
Blossom
you end
yet.
up getting a copy of him, get him. Nah, I don't think he'll get a Blossom anytime.
No, not anytime soon. I'm just saying, like, he's S tier without a Blossom. Him and Seraphie are. Look, somebody will prove me wrong if I say timeless. Like, next year they'll suck, but they're timeless. Bones of Baramos, he had a really interesting kit. He came out around a lot of powerful stuff, I think. Nobody gave a shit. I think he did some
The only guy I remember who really spent money on him was Tukey, and Tukey's like a drug addict, so I mean that doesn't really do much for the situation.
Because he hasn't been blossomed, and he probably still has some utility. Let's just say he's a crappy B tier.
I'm cool with that. I mean, outside of fighting him once, I don't remember ever seeing him. I fought him once. That was it.
When he was like only a couple of months new, when he was still like, like current strength, because you know how the power creep is in this game. Nobody knew what the hell he did. So if you actually had him, like, bro, throw him on your GVG defense, because nobody knows anything that isn't in the meta. Dude, units that one of my guildmates rocked it out with the OG Terry from 7 or 6 because nobody knew that his third awakening he had an evasion perk. So it was only 40%, but people, they're like, all right, let's just go kill Terry, and then you miss, and then he kills you. It's like, wait, Terry has evasion? Like, I didn't talk about it for the longest time because he was getting kills in GVG defense because people didn't know that Terry had evasion.
And then he got a Blossom, so it was like a win-win.
Yeah, I wish I had the materials for his Blossom. I'm probably never going to have him awake.
I mean, his Blossom's really good. It gives attack, agility, evasion, and zap force for 3 turns. It's ridiculous.
Well, we can stay on the stream as long as you like, but we covered the general pool. I'm pretty sure I got them all. So yeah. Any comments for the video? You feel good about this list? Did I bully you on anything?
You couldn't bully me. Shit, I'd bully you. I got you beat. I'm the only guy here who doesn't fucking quit and come back like this is some sort of domestic violence camp.
I know. Kage's wet dream is that he's featured in some poor kid's suicide note by name.
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say about Trop.
That's fucking dark. Yeah, I know. All right, I feel good about this.
I feel bad for Trop because he's like, man, I had to borrow somebody's Switch to play DQM3, and I'm like, wait, you borrowed somebody's Switch and then you bought the like?
Well, there's not a lot of little kids to beat up for their Switch in the soup line. They don't have them either, so
it's like Jesus Christ, man. Like, I don't know if the game's awesome. Dragon Quest is cool, but if you're gonna spend money, spend it on a full experience before you put money into this game. Like, if you couldn't get DQM3 this month because you put $200 into like one of these banners, you're an idiot. Because like right now, I'm curious how many hours I put into this fucking thing.
All right, so we're gonna end the video recording. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Only an hour 15. That's not bad for a tier list at this point. Tier lists go too long now. So, all right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good night. All right, stream's still going.
Right. Okay, so I put 36 hours into this fucking game already, and I'm nowhere near done.
Did you get it yesterday? No, I forgot. You were no life in that game from launch. You had it pre-downloaded.
I even managed to trick my region, so I got to play it earlier. So, yeah, I've been playing it for a minute.
Okay, no lifing it and then some. Got it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, hell, I can play this while I just sit and do work because it's, portable too. It's granted, I only have like 4 games on this fucking system, but, hey. It's good times.
All right. Let me see. So just doing a live stream now. What do we go on about? What have I? Oh man, there's so many.
So who's a bigger nerd, Chase or Artea? Well, I'm gonna say Chase because I couldn't see me taking Artea out to dinner or Chase out to dinner. Chase wouldn't come into town. I mean, like, he'd get stuck on Boulder Highway with some fucking hookers and OnlyFans. It'd be fucking like, Chase, where'd you go? We're gonna go meet up here at the Texas Roadhouse.
Why would
and it's like 3 days later.
Dinner with you at Texas Roadhouse would be better than hanging out with any quality of hooker.
Because I can't give you an STD. I don't know.
Oh, Kage, if we had dinner, one of us would be leaving with with an STD.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're definitely not taking that waiter home, buddy.
Oh, man. Yeah, I felt like there were so many things I wanted to go on with other players, and now my mind's a blank because we just talked for
Good.
an hour 15 about the fucking general pool.
Well, this is what you wanted. I mean, you like being abused.
Wow, are you
I
really
mean, I'm
doing
gonna have to
that?
send you over to the
You asked for it,
the
baby.
women's shelter. So
Oof.
let's talk about that. What made you come back to this game so many times? What
Erdrick.
pulls people back into it?
Erdrick, Dragon Warrior. I love Dragon Warrior.
So you came back simply because the game pulled on your nostalgia and brought back certain units into the game for you to get.
Yeah, felt like it. I still, there's a lot of things that I miss in this game. It's just that it's ran by people that hate us.
Well, I can't argue that when, they do unit exclusivity in fucking Japan.
Well, here's the thing. I say, like, I'm not trying to be childish. Like, oh, you're just like a child. Like, oh, hate. Like, you're using like childish language. No, like, because I don't see their decisions as being strong business decisions. Like, it's like, oh, they just hate global. Like, they hate anybody outside Japan. Like, because it's not for more profit. They
Well, I
would be
mean,
making
just
more money on this game if they didn't.
case in point,
abuse us.
it's not even just them. I mean, Square has a promotion with Japanese McDonald's for some codes for DQM3 to get some specific units. And it's like, well, what about the rest of the world? Oh, fuck those guys.
We invented McDonald's. We invented childhood obesity. We deserve McDonald's units.
Meanwhile, it's like, now the codes are only for these guys here. Like, oh, okay. Well, will we ever get some exclusive units or special things on the West that JP won't get? No? Oh, okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Oh, and
Fucking
there's
assholes.
another Dragon Quest X unit coming out in 3 months for us, so yay.
Oh, yeah. What happened to offline? Oh,
I've seen
still
like two
offline
people
for me.
I've seen like 2 people in Discord like, oh my god, I can't wait, but I also think they have that emotion for like literally every single unit, so
Yeah, these people just get hyped about every little aspect of this game.
you know what I couldn't stand, dude, are the people that were excited for Nocturnus. Like, okay, yeah, he's gonna be strong, but bro, you didn't play DQ6.
Most people didn't play DQ6.
Nobody played fucking DQ6, dude. I got halfway through 6 and just put it down because it was just like generic Dragon Quest. Is like, I've been playing this game for 20 hours and it's still like, it's like, okay, it's generic Dragon Quest, which is good.
It's like half of the Final Fantasy roster. I mean, I played those games, but if you ask me something specific about them, I'd be like, I don't fucking remember.
Yeah.
It happened. I beat the game and just went on. It's not like, some of the older ones where I could give you ideas or plot points or things. Like, I'm actually excited about this Monsters game because it's like, oh, cool. So this is filling in the backstory for Dragon Quest IV. I like Dragon Quest IV.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what's funny is classic Final Fantasies did not hold up like Dragon Quest. You can have some of the Dragon Quest catalog that, like the mainline games at least, that you didn't like as much. Like, DQ2 sucked because of like the time, like they rushed it at the end, and the balance was really bad.
Well, they're certainly not rushing the remake.
But yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But there's not a lot of Dragon Quest stinkers. Let's look back at Final Fantasy though. What old Final Fantasy games are worth playing? 1, 4.
1, 4, 6. Well, 6 is really good, but I mean,
about 6.
Yeah, 6. I mean, I would say 6, and then after 6, then you get to the PlayStation era, and
then it's a little different because
7.
early 3D is weird. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm good. Well, case in point, I hold 7 in higher regard than 8
like I
or
think
9
Final Fantasy
because
2 was worse than Dragon Quest 2 by a mile. Final Fantasy 2 just sucked. Nobody played.
I just
3.
don't remember Final Fantasy 2 at all. I mean, I played it. I beat the game as a kid. I just don't really remember anything about the game. It's just one of those.
Yeah.
It came and went.
I think Final Fantasy 5 had some merit, but like I don't know. I didn't play it. I didn't play any.
I mean, I remember more about
yes,
what was it, Phantasy Star 2 than I do about Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had the stupid leveling system, so. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the Dragon Quest games, you can have some that you don't like as much, but like there's one of those games is going to be like a small handful of players' favorite. I guess you can say that for anything, but like none of the Dragon Quest games truly suck. There's just some that you don't care for that much.
That sounds about right. I mean,
so
I'm trying to think. Which ones did I like the most?
So the Dragon Quest 3
I liked 8.
Did you see that Yuji Horii commented on 3D HD remake the other day?
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, okay, cool.
That's literally the only update for, what, 2.5 years now?
It's like, why did we even...
They just...
So basically, that show they did that year had nothing at all of real merit, because half the things they showcased never came out. I mean, we don't know when Dragon Quest 12 is coming out. At this point, I tell people 2025 because
Dragon Quest 12
it's not coming out next year.
People are like, we got our first trailer for Dragon Quest 12, or we got an announcement trailer. There was literally nothing in that trailer.
It was a title card.
I don't trust the title.
I did a title card. I like fucking went into MS Paint and did DQ12. I'm like, here you go. You got the same thing Square gave you.
And
fuck off.
Announcing that a Dragon Quest 12 is coming. Yeah, I could have fucking told Square that. Like, obviously Final Fantasy 12 is
coming. Sucked. I mean, yeah, that's fair. Spin-off games are pretty bad.
I did say mainline. I did say mainline. The Treasure.
Yeah. Treasure was awful. I mean, the Die mobile game was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Die game on PlayStation, that was it was fun, but
you gave me the impression it was playable, like you played through it, right? But
I played through it, I enjoyed it, but then thinking back on it, it's like they could have just did that game for anything. Die was just like a coat of paint they put on top of it.
Yeah, it was like, it was almost like the Warriors games. It's like, oh, okay, so they just put this IP on it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they could have done it with Gundam. They could have done it with any other anime. And
man, I wish we could get a good Gundam game again. Like, some of them are okay. I don't like the shooting. I'm terrible at FPS games. The hack and slash one or whatever they did last year was okay.
They did a fighting one. I got it for free on PlayStation. I'll have to look at it at some point, but
they don't. Yeah, Maxi Boost. I think that.
Yeah, I got it for free, so I'm gonna look at it at some point, just out of pure curiosity.
I don't think it was very good. Dude, you know what I loved? You never played any of the Battle Assault games, did you?
I don't think I did.
So they came out on PS1. They made a third one on PS2, but it sucked.
Because I played a lot of the PS2 Gundam games, like Journey to Jaburo, and there was like a Xeon game. Those were
Journey
good.
to Jaburo was funny because most people hate that game, but it kind of gives you that cockpit in the.
Well, it was long. I mean, that game I remember.
Well, it's tank controls. You actually kind of feel like, oh, that's right. I'm in a Gundam or a Jim or a Zaku. Like, it's not like in the anime where I'm flying around and slashing at everything super quick. Like, I have ammo. I need to turn slowly. I don't run at things really. Like, well, you can run, but like, you're not lightning fast.
The only thing I remember about that game that I would probably be a criticism of is they padded out the game too long. They probably could have ended the game 20 missions earlier, and it still would have been a much better game. I think the pacing was a little off, but
because
you got what you got with the controls.
Yeah, quick scenarios in the anime were like entire missions, so yeah.
It was a weird game because they started like replaying missions and doing some stuff where it just got repetitive, and it was like, oh, I've already done a variation of this before. How many times do I have to protect White Base?
Yeah. I don't remember how long it took in the anime for them to go from landing on Earth to Jaburo, but that's the thing. It's It's literally just like from when they fell out of orbit and then going to the Jaburo base. Like it's Journey to Jaburo. That's it. It's not like the whole Gundam anime, like the entire season or whatever. It's just
No, they did
going
have
from
some
their
like
landing site to
mixed
Jaburo.
fights in there with Char on the one moon base and some other stuff they did too, which was kind of cool. But it's just I I don't remember that game being something like lengthwise that I enjoyed. It got stale after a while, but for
And
the core experience was fun.
and as far as the units go, it looked good because it's robots. So yeah, I'm sure that the backgrounds look like shit, especially in the desert. But like buildings in the city, they're square, so it's fine. But the mobile suits looked good. So we're talking about Gundam now. Fuck.
Oh, that's life.
Yeah. Let me see. What are you excited about in the pipeline for Dragon Quest Tact?
Captain Skelly's coming. Captain Skelly kind of looked interesting. He's like I think he's like the bad guy at Treasures. I never played Treasures, so I don't know, but
Yeah.
his set looked kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's got another double revive, I think, and he attacks on his death when he dies or something.
So I could see myself using him, and I think he's a 50 weight unit, so I really could use a good 50 weight unit.
Yeah. Like I'm upset when units that I don't know or like get good units or good blossoms. It's like, but I don't care about that unit, and now I'm gonna want it because of mechanics. Like I was saying with Nocturnus, like nobody is excited for the character Nocturnus. You're just like, oh my god, this unit's gonna be really strong. Well, any unit's gonna be like really strong when it's new. So it's like,
Yeah, I know.
like Nocturnus was so lame
like,
for the 1 year.
Well, because Nocturnus, everybody just goes for the other versions of him, like Duran or Indignus. The other colored versions because they actually played those games.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like the first year. It's like, oh wow, so they just refused to pick popular units for anniversaries. Oh okay. Because a Stark, dude, when I played 4 and 5, I couldn't even tell the difference between a Stark and Sorrow, and they're only at they're final bosses, but Dragon Quest never really does much with final bosses. They just pop up at the end. Um,
Yeah, no, I mean, Final Fantasies. Majority of them are like surprise twist bosses at the end, like somebody who was never mentioned in the story at all. Like I think 9 did that.
by the way, dude, I love how they changed paid stuff since I left. They've started doing. I don't know
Oh, with
when
the
they started it.
guarantees.
Well, yeah, like the triple paid banners for Blossom units and stuff, or even
So
some new
they
units.
started that with the second die event, and that's where it came into play. Where if you paid 9, you did three 9K pulls or 3K
You spent
pulls,
9,000
you were
gems,
guaranteed. Yeah, you were guaranteed the unit because otherwise, the paid is like
Well, and those first two pulls are
it's a
actually the
gamble.
same rate as a standard paid once only. So you
Right.
do. I always call them poos. I don't know about you. You do 2 poos. There's actually no S rank guaranteed on the third one. But yeah, so 2 poos, and then the third one is basically you get it guaranteed, and you still
You
get
get
to
the
do
spotlight.
the third multi. You don't even lose that 10th slot. So there's just no
No.
guarantee on the 10th slot. But yeah, much better value. I mean, Perry, dude, I got Perry with for 9,000 paid gems. That's good. I mean,
I had my S Stark at 4, and I was like, oh, I need to go get him. So I'm just gonna. I ended up doing the paid to get him from 4 to 5. Like,
that's a Stark was
yeah.
stupid strong. So yeah, I did that, and I only got one copy, but one copy for 9,000 gems is not. Yes, you didn't get lucky, but there's a lot more. Like you can really waste 9,000 gems easily. So
I got an extra copy of I think Brachio's and one other unit just going and pulling towards him, so I got some value out of that.
yeah, I'm still seeing use out of the general pool more than obviously players like you. So it's still a shitty concession prize, but pulling a copy of a stronger general pool unit's still cool.
I'm cool with pulling something I either don't have or don't have awakenings on because at some point in time it'll come back around and I'll
Exactly.
have a use for it.
Exactly. Mortigan, do you look at his blossom?
I haven't looked at his yet. Let me see. What awakening is mine?
I think mine's at one awaken, which means he's going to have that poo thing, so I'll be able to get at least one more. He's going to get the triple guarantee thing. And that's going to have Eric, Veronica, and him featured on it, so that's probably going to be a better than 1 in 4 chance.
I just know for the DQ10 blossoms, I don't really have much that's max awakened. I mean, Graynarl's getting a blossom, and I have him awakened max, so I'm excited about that. But otherwise, I don't think I have much. And Fallen Angel Corvus is obviously not getting a blossom because he's basically another Dolmagus. They're not gonna up him.
Yeah, he's actually Duomegas is gonna look better to him the longer we go because
yeah, I've got Mortimer at 0 awakened, so I just don't even care.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Fallen Angel Corvus didn't hit hard when he came out, and he must be hitting like a fucking feather now.
I mean, he's there more for the utility and the debuff. That's about it, you know.
But yeah, so Mortigan, his new Blossom move is Zap and Zam. Inflicts heavy martial non-reflectable Zap and Zam damage. Oh, sorry, it's spell. Yeah, non-reflectable spell damage. And it's straight line. Bad. It's straight line 4. But
I kind of wish I had a max awaken now. Shit.
Well, yeah. Now this is the thing. A lot of people have some awakening on this guy, just getting him on value banners and anniversaries. He's got a half HP heal the first time he falls below half. And then and then just like Ladia, when he gets that heal, he gets a 1.5 potency boost for 1 turn. Starts battle with a double attack, defense, intelligence, and agility buff. So yeah, starts with a double agility buff. That's huge. And it looks like at the start of action, if the enemy is in with range of the large diamond, Terrifying Crimson Mist will be activated. Okay. So it doesn't look like it's a hit like Summer Sorrow. It's occasionally greatly increase the damage taken by all enemies within range. So you got a 40% chance of them greatly increases damage taken. So I don't know how that's going to work. If that's like 50% extra damage or 30, but that's not nothing. And
it's going to be one of those wait and see things.
He's already got a triple 50% damage reduction shield, which is nice. He's third awakening is 3 turns of a damage increase buff. And 5th turn is every 3 turns he gets a damage buff. So, he looks like he could actually be really good. And then
again, it's like, man, I wish I had him with more awakenings because just the unreflectable spell is pretty good.
Yeah, in my box, I've already got him at 1 awakening. The paid once onlys will get me at least 1 copy, so he might be worth chasing an orb for. So I mean, it's hard to tell how hard something like this is gonna hit. I mean, I could watch JP footage, but I think this guy's gonna be really good. Yeah, and that's the thing. Because of the kit that he already had, I figured his Blossom would be good, and yeah, it's up there. Eric and Veronica look like they'll be good too. I'm just less interested. I think
I just don't have a lot of awakenings on any of those guys, so it's like can't really get excited about much of this.
Yeah. Did you check out
Eric?
Did you check out Mia? Mia and Erica are both going to have those guaranteed triple paid once only pulls. So Mia gets a follow up on her first awakening. She follows up allies attacks, and so that's one element I don't remember. Her third awakening is a different element of follow up attacks with the same range. So she gets double follow up attacks at 3 awakening.
Huh.
Yeah, let me pull it up for more detail. I think you can get at least 1 copy of her guaranteed. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know how useful she'll be at 1 Awakening versus 3, but
Therein lies the problem. I mean, it's one of those things where maybe if I pull her on tickets, I'll be like, okay.
well, that's
Then I can, then I can go in and maybe get another copy and then shard her. But
so. I mean, think about it. You got, we'll say a 50% chance to get her on the first 2 polls, and then you get 1 copy of her guaranteed. So you can start off with 1 or 2 copies easy. It's like if you wanted to go all out on her, it's going to save you so many gems. Then like it's so easy to put 90,000 gems into a banner and walk away with 2 copies. Which is the most painful fucking thing you can do. Well, next to spending 87,000 gems and getting 1 copy, that's the worst.
Oh God.
But yeah, she's a single target healer. Single target greatly recovers HP and removes status ailments, which is actually important.
So she's like Draconium, Gem Slime, and Hawkheart. Okay, it's not bad.
From what it looks like in the description, her coup de grace, the effect says this skill cannot be improved. Bro, there's an ability that doesn't need to be upgraded. How fucking awesome is that? Why couldn't they do that with Mina and Maya? Because that was bullshit.
Oh, because they wanted to milk people for fucking resources.
Oh my god.
I mean, they sell those gold packs to somebody. You always wonder who buys like those gold packs or those starter spell book packs, and somebody fucking grabs them.
But yeah, so let me see. This man. Oh no, okay. So her base perk is crack follow up with a range 2 to 4, and it says when a friend other than you attacks, if the enemy is within range 2 to 4, attack with bang bullets. Io's bang, sorry. No, like I know you're hearing me talk. There was no modifier in there for chance. It's just you do follow up, and there's no limit. It's not 3 times. When a friend other than you attacks, if the enemy is within range 2 to 4, attack with bang bullets.
Okay, so it's like Togi, because Togi has no limit to the amount of time she could follow up.
Okay. First
with her ability, as long as it's breath or martial.
Increase martial skill and recovery at the start of battle, greatly increasing dodge rate. Greatly is double, right? Yeah. So she starts with 40% evasion. And then the third awakening, when a friend other than you attacks, if the enemy is within range 1 to 2, attack with crack bullets. So, and then the fifth awakening is just a 15% damage barrier for 3 turns. That's nice, but not something where it's like, oh man, she's gonna get so much better, especially since she has physical evasion. But this is like knowing that with a frag and the paid ones onlys, I'll at least get her to 1 awaken. Yeah, I'm gonna take that, man.
Just don't lose your shirt, Chase, because we don't need you quitting again.
No, I'm not going crazy anymore. I know that Square hates us. I accept it. Whatever. I enjoy this game.
I want to believe you.
The guild feature in this game actually did a lot more than you would think it would. Like, it keeps you close with a group of friends online,
Oh, well. This is probably the first time you're experiencing that, Chase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes the hookers stay around and talk to you for a while if you pay them extra.
Or you could just find somebody on OnlyFans and take them to Taco Bell.
Bro, I can't afford OnlyFans. I play DQT.
Well, obviously you can't afford DQM3 because you'd be playing that right now with me.
No, I just don't get excited about anything like day one. I'll do it. Why can I not get this right screen? There we go. If I had it in my hands right now, I wouldn't be playing it. I got to finish up Crisis Core.
I worry about you. Oh, you're still on Crisis?
I don't get excited.
So wait, did you play the original Crisis Core, or is this your first time playing?
Did they change anything in the PS4 or 5 version?
I don't know, because I
looks a
try
lot
and
better.
avoid remakes for these games
I
because I mean, if I played it once, I don't want the company to double dip and
I believe
get
the
me to
combat
spend on the
system is
same game
exactly the
twice.
same, but like, the combat in that game is just there. You're just going through it. You can't. Yes, you can lose the battles, but like, there's nothing in a. It's an easy game, which is actually fine by me. I'm the one person. If you call a game a walking simulator, I'm like, oh, that actually sounds okay. Yeah, I'm down with that. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about Mia, and Eric is gonna have the same thing, the same paid once only situation. Um, but he didn't. I'm sure he'll be good, but yeah, dude, I'm loving Mia. But
Oh, somebody asked, "How is Taco Bell lady? Did you unchain her from the basement?"
that is between me and Taco Bell lady, and I'll thank you not to ask.
Okay, that's a no.
Yeah. Oh. So anyway, we've been here an hour 45 now. I think you're back to your game. I think I'm gonna get a
Yeah,
snack. So
I'm checked out at this point.
yep,
Like most of your
I can
relationships.
see. I don't have anything. Later I'm gonna think about all these things that like questions about the year that I missed and all that stuff, but they're not coming to me now. So
And I'm okay with that because I don't care.
yeah, exactly. All right, thanks for everybody that tuned in. You guys have a good night.